afternoon, Mount Lebanon. I'm Pastor Nate Borman, one of the pastors here at Mount Lebanon. If you're listening in and you're not from Mount Lebanon, this is what I hope can be a weekly update about what's going on in the ministry at Mount Lebanon, how we plan to go forward in ministry, what we plan to do together, and just kind of a general update about what's going on at Mount Lebanon, what's going on around Mount Lebanon. One of the things I want to just talk with you a little bit about today is you probably have seen it by now that the Supreme Court in Wisconsin struck down the Safer at Home order by Governor Evers. Milwaukee has its own order in place now, and we're all trying to figure out what that means now for those of us who live and do our ministry here in Milwaukee. So the question for us is, what does that mean for Mount Lebanon? The first thing I want to do is go back to the survey that many of you took last week. Thank you. I want to just take a moment to say thank you to all of you who took that survey. It was really helpful and insightful to us as your leaders to know exactly how you felt about getting back to church, what you were worried about, what you were excited about, what you were willing to do, so that we could all be safe. I want to share a couple of things from that survey. I won't share numbers because I'm not a numbers guy, but a couple of things were really interesting to me. One, the majority of people said that there were two majority opinions. One was that members really wanted to get back to church as soon as we could. And the second majority opinion was we want to get back to church as soon as we can, but let's just take our time and be smart and measured about the way that we go back to church. The other thing that was really interesting was almost everybody felt like when we go back to church, at least initially, we want to make smart, safe decisions. We need to take not just a few of the things that the CDC recommends, but all of the things into consideration and into action when we come back to church. And everybody's willing to do what they can so to accommodate as many people as we can in a wise way. So these are the plans that the Council of Ministries, together with the elders, that we put together. We sent an email earlier in the week. I will, in the comments of this video, I will share the link to what we sent out earlier in the week about our plans. But the basic plan is this. Starting this weekend, we will have short devotional communion services for 9 and under. That's what the current orders allow us to do. So we are going to follow the directions given to us by our government, and we're going to gather 9 and under people at 8 a.m. and at 11 a.m. The following weekend, we will add a Saturday evening short communion devotional service at 5:30 p.m. Pastor Krieger and I will begin working our way through the membership list and calling everybody A to Z, inviting people to come. Please, I want you to understand a couple of things about these invitations that we'll be extending to you. One, we have a safety plan in place so that when you come, you can be sure that things have been cleaned prior to your coming and that everybody is all on the same page about how we will act and behave and how we will carry things out when we're together. It's been really important to us that we do things in a way that keeps people safe. We really want to get back together, but we don't want to be reckless about it. So we have an entire safety plan in place that we will be practicing and putting to use as we gather for worship. The other thing I want you to understand is that this is your choice. If we call you when we talk to you about this, this is totally up to you. There is a lot of people have a lot of different feelings about whether it's a good idea for them to go out, and we want you to know that we understand and we support the CDC's recommendation about the vulnerable population. If that's you, please be safe and please feel free to stay home. If you want to stay home and you just want to wait your time before you come back to church, also we understand there is no guilt and there is no pressure. The invitation is just that it's an invitation which you are free to accept and also free to decline. And the third thing, I think we need to keep saying this because it's true. These plans are more than ever temporary. We are learning more every day about the state of affairs in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. We are learning more about COVID-19. We are learning more about everything in these days. And so this is a very fluid and flexible situation. So we will do our very best to keep you up to date and up to speed on what we're doing at Mount Lebanon and how we plan to serve you with the gospel the best that we can. So that's one of the reasons I'm starting up this Friday video, just to give you an update. That's enough about worship, but I do want to share a little bit about our Connect groups. This week, so May 17th, the week of May 17th, will be our last week of the first session of our Connect groups. And I'm really excited about how these have gone. 48 members of Mount Lebanon were participants in this first session of Connect groups. Just an awesome thing to gather together around God's Word. I pray that Connect groups are one of those things that stick now and into the future, because I'm convinced more and more that what we need as God's people is connection to God's Word and God's people. And if we can find a way, and I believe Connect groups is a great way to do it, to deepen our relationships with each other, our church will only be blessed by our deeper connection to each other and our deeper growth in God's Word that happens in Connect groups. So that being said, after this week of May 17th, we're going to take a week off, but then as quickly as possible, we're going to get back into another session of Connect groups. So stay tuned to new times, new hosts, new facilitators. Maybe it'll be some of the same facilitators, same times, but we're actually hoping to add one or maybe two more groups because we want more of you to be in these groups. Again, we're convinced that the more of God's people are not only in worship, but also in Connect groups, that's going to be a blessing to Mount Lebanon. So stay tuned for that. In the weeks to come, we're going to continue to figure out how we plan to serve you with God's Word. So again, check in the comments for another link to a calendar of when are there going to be Zoom Bible studies, just kind of diving into a text of what's going on for worship, just so you kind of know what's coming online, what's coming in person, so that you know what's going on. The last thing, I hope maybe it'll be the last thing. The last thing I'll say to you is this about these days. We have all been surprised and shocked by everything that's happened, and maybe one of the hardest things is the uncertainty of these days. But let me tell you this, none of this has caught our God by surprise. You know, I tried to imagine it as if I were a little speck of sugar, and imagine a little speck of sugar. It feels maybe like it's being thrown down a cliff into a pile of mush. But what that little piece of sugar doesn't understand is that it's part of a chocolate chip cookie. Or I try to imagine what a cell in our body feels like as it's just barreling down our veins. It feels maybe like it's somebody on a White Water Rapids. But what it doesn't realize is it's part of a greater system in our body to get oxygen to every part of our body. And that's what you and I are like right now. We're like that little piece of sugar that's part of a chocolate chip cookie, or we're like a cell in our body that's part of a bigger whole. We don't have all the information that God has. We don't have all the wisdom that God has. We don't have all the power that God has, but our God has it. He has all the information, he has all the wisdom, he has all the power, and he's at work. And so I want to get you excited to think about the next series. I'm really excited about it. We're wrapping up Thessalonians this weekend, and the following week we're starting a new series called Wide as the Ocean. And in that series, we're going to explore what it is who our God is, what he's like. And so the first series, we're going to look at a question that is asked in the book of Job. What can you know? We're going to explore that question together on the basis of God's Word. What can you know? Well, we'll find out what you can know and also what you can't know. So I hope to see you all in worship this Sunday online, 9:30 a.m. Love you all. We can't wait to get together again in person. But until then, Lord be with you and keep you. Have a great day.